Hello everyone, let us do photo retouching and also apply makeup to this lady. So let us start. So I have taken the image of this lady. So first thing what we'll do is, we will not work on the original, we will work on the duplicate. So just unlock the background, take a duplicate layer, just hit Ctrl plus J and let us hide the original image. So after selecting the duplicate, we will first remove the background. To remove the background, simply go to Windows and go to Properties, and in Properties we have an option Remove Background. Just click on it. So it will remove the background. So we can see any important areas have gone missing. Alright, it's fine. So once we have removed the background, now what we'll do is, we'll take a new layer above the subject layer and we will select a brush. We will make her skin fair. So to make her skin fair, we will select a creamy color, a little bit creamy and a little bit reddish, so in between red and yellow. Right, and we'll make it a slightly yellow. Right, then we will select soft rounded brush and we'll increase the flow amount. In case the flow is not 100%, make it 100%. Now we will just paint on her face. Make sure you don't paint on her eyes and also on her mouth. We only want to paint on her skin portion. So just paint like this. Just I have roughly painted. So now what we'll do is, we will select a blending mode. So the blending mode is soft light. So we can see some instant result here. Right. But what we'll do is, we will apply a hide all mask to this layer, because this soft light has also affected the areas that we don't want to be affected. So what we'll do is, simply hold Alt on your keyboard and then just simply click on the mask icon on the bottom of the layers panel. Right, now we will select the brush. Make sure that you have selected the soft rounded brush and make sure that the foreground color is pure white, and also the thumbnail, the mask thumbnail should be active, and we will paint only on her skin areas. Don't paint anywhere other than the skin areas. Right. This is better. Right. So now the next step is we can take a duplicate of this layer in case we want more fairness, in case we want her to be more fair. So just take a duplicate so we can see the change. But we don't want this much fairness. We can reduce the fairness a little bit by reducing the opacity. Right. Just keep it to a low value of 34%, the opacity. Right. And we can slightly paint over here. Right. So then what we'll do is we'll take a common layer, means a merged copy of all the existing layers instead of merging the layers. So the shortcut is Control Alt Shift and E. Control Alt Shift and E. So now we have taken a common layer. Then what we'll do is we can actually zoom in a little bit, and in case we can see some pimples or marks, we can remove them using a patch tool. So we can just select those pimples and marks and remove them, but make sure that you don't remove the details. We want the details to be intact. Right. Right. So once we have removed some of the pimples and marks or blemishes, so what we'll do is we'll take a duplicate of this layer, one more duplicate, just hit Ctrl J, and we are going to apply surface blur filter to her face. So simply go to filter and go to blur and select surface blur. Surface blur is used to smoothen her skin. So if you want her skin to be smooth, we can use this surface blur, and you can reduce the threshold value. So we can also reduce the radius here, so it should not be too smooth. Right. So now what we'll do is we'll apply hide all mask again to this layer. Simply hold Alt on your keyboard and click on the mask icon, and then we'll select a brush, soft rounded brush, and this time we will reduce the flow. Let's keep it around 60%. So we'll just paint with white as the foreground color, and make sure that the mask thumbnail is active, and just paint on the skin areas, and also make sure that you don't lose the details. Right. So now her skin is looking soft. Right. So now the next step is we'll take one more merged copy of all the existing layers. So simply hit Ctrl Alt Shift and E. Right. And then we'll take one more duplicate, Ctrl J, and this time we'll apply overlay. So with overlay you will be adding contrast to the image, but we don't want this much contrast. We will reduce the opacity. Just keep it around 48%. Right. So the next step we are supposed to do is we will apply a curves adjustment layer. So simply select the curves adjustment layer, and then we'll slightly increase the brightness, very little bit. Right. It should be very little, right? And also we can select the green here, and we can just make it a little bit yellowish, little bit. And also we can select the blue, and we can make it a little bit bluish, or very little. That's it. Right. And we can inverse this. So to inverse, we can simply hit Ctrl plus I. That's it. And then we'll select a brush, and let's keep the flow value to 100%, and we will just paint on the skin areas again. So we are just making her more fair. That's it. And we'll slightly reduce the opacity here, so we don't want too much brightness. Right, that's it. So we'll take one more merged copy here. Ctrl Alt Shift and E. Right, now what we'll do is we'll add some makeup. So first we'll start with her lips. So we'll just select her lips, and after selecting her lips, we'll just take a new layer and simply hit Ctrl Enter, and then we will just apply some feather to this selection. Right, and then we'll select a pure red color and just hit Alt and backspace. Right, so then we will just select a blending mode, which is multiply. So we can also use overlay, okay, but multiply is better, but it is looking too dark. So what we can do is simply double click on this layer, and here we have some options. Underlying layer. So this underlying layer means the layer below the active layer, which is the lips layer. So that layer is going to affect the lips layer. So that layer's bright areas are going to affect the top layer, that is the active layer, which is lips layer. So how it will affect? See, here we have a slider. So if I move it, see, the highlights are returning, but we don't want the highlights to be too intense, so we can actually break this slider. To break the slider, we have to hold Alt and simply drag. So now we can see the change. Right, so now it looks better. So then we'll take a common layer again, Ctrl Alt Shift and E, and there is some darkness near her lips, so we'll clear it with the clone stamp tool. So simply hold Alt and click, and then just clear the darkness. Make sure that you don't lose the details. Just here we have some darkness, so it doesn't look nice. Right. Just we have to use the clone stamp. Simply hold Alt and click on these skin areas, and then we will be pasting those areas. So this is called sampling actually, right? So then what we can do is we can use the blur tool, and we can make these areas a little bit blurry so that they are not going to be visible, right? That's it. So now it looks fine. So then what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of makeup to this lady. So to add makeup, what we'll do is we'll take a new layer above the active layer, and then we'll select a brush, a soft rounded brush. So we'll add a little bit of blush on her cheeks. So I'll select a pink color, and let us reduce the flow amount here to 40%, and we'll select screen blending mode. We'll just increase the size of the brush. So just we can click here, so we can see. So should not be too dark. So that's it. This much is okay, right? So in case you think it's too dark, we can slightly reduce the opacity. That's it, right? So then we'll do one more thing. So we will also add a green color over her eyelids and the area between her eyebrows and eyelids. And also we will reduce the flow amount. The flow should not be too much. We'll keep it around 30%. Okay, it's 30 also is too much. Let's keep it around 18%. Okay, so it's something like this. Right. So this is better. And also we can reduce the opacity. Just a little. That's it. So this much is okay. So in case you want a little bit more intense, so what you can do is we can just take a duplicate and see now it's looking more intense. So what we can do is we can actually keep the blush a little bit dark, and these green areas we can remove actually. So I'll just apply a high dol mask to this, and then we can just bring back the blush. Or we can paint it again. Right. That's it. And for the one last time, we'll take a common layer. Control Alt Shift and E. That's it. Now we'll do a comparison. So I'll just take a new document. So we'll just give it a name, comparison. Comparison, okay. We'll select a landscape, and then we'll simply drag this layer into this document, and also we'll drag the original image into this document. and we can just see how much change we have brought. We have completely changed the image. We have applied makeup, we have applied smoothness, we have also applied fairness to the image. So for the one last time we will crop the image and we will save the image as a JPEG file. And we will check the final output. So this is the final output. So we have brought a lot of change. So this is a very simple, quick and easy tutorial about photo retouching. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please do like, subscribe, share, and if you have anything to say, do comment. See you again.